one of my favorite bands, a band that has a lot to do with Queen in a lot of ways. Red Cat in the background. Muse had a new album since I have been gone called Simulation Theory. It's a good album. I got some stuff to say on it. This one was especially weird in that they would work on songs and release a single, and then work on songs, and then release a single, and then work on songs and release a single. So you saw and heard their output while they were making the album. So, like, for example, Chapter 3 was released upon the world before they finished or even started Chapter 5, which is definitely an odd move. It was cool in that we got to get these singles faster in a lot of ways. We got to get parts of the album faster. It was weird in that by the time the album came out, it kind of felt like the whole thing was done. Like you're getting the fifth single when the album comes out, and that's like it. It is definitely strange in that regard. I don't know if I would do it again if I was them. It kind of made it like I imagine singles as like advertisements for your album. And this is probably totally like doesn't make any sense in today's day and age with how people purchase and digest music. But I think of singles as being like, all right, a reason to buy this album. Like I didn't get Green Day's American Idiot until I heard like the fourth single and realized I liked it and I liked all the singles. I should probably buy the damn thing already. So in my mindset, that's what those are for. But by the time the album came out, you would have heard it all over the radio so many times. So why would you want to buy the album? Obviously, there were songs that weren't singles, but and they pretty much showed them all on YouTube. So maybe my thought process on that subject is weird, but it felt like by the time the album was released, the album cycle was over, which is definitely strange. It was also a weird album for Muse in that it wasn't super like related at all. It was just them doing things that were kind of sci-fi, but not quite as serious as they used to. It was kind of an eclectic feeling album. It especially feels eclectic because they used so many producers. Like there was a main producer, but there were still big singles that were released with a completely different producer. So I think there's like what, four or five. And as usual, Muse made a couple songs I'm not big on. This has been a pattern actually from even my favorite Muse album, like I love Black Holes and Revelations, but there's still one song where it's usually me skipping it when it comes on my iTunes or whatever. So I wasn't super big on Break It To Me or Get Up and Fight. I don't know if they're just repetitive or just like, I just didn't really like them. Like I said, the production is kind of disjointed. I expected I wasn't going to like the Timbaland song because I'm not a big hip hop guy. But propaganda grew on me. It was weird, but it grew on me. I mean, Muse is weird, so I did appreciate that it wasn't quite as serious as usual. Because let's be honest, Muse is usually real serious in their insanity. But they made so many albums at this point in time. There were still some songs on this album that I thought were some of the best they've ever done. Thought Contagion, I think, completely encompasses what it means to be someone that pays attention to politics in the Trump presidency. Like Thought Contagion hits it right on for what it's like. That was great. Pressure, I really really liked. It reminded me of Panic Station in a lot of ways from the Second Law. Yeah, that was a really good song. I really wanted that to hit one alternative, but I think it hit like top 5 or top 10 or something. It really should have hit one since it was great. Dig Down, I will also point out, is a very good song, and its position on the album is especially great because you're going through this journey of the whole album, and like there's some dystopian stuff and there's some sad stuff and whatever. And Dig Down is such a goddamn message of like hope at the end of this album that it's like a great album closer. I know it's not the album closer, but his position is great. I also really liked Blockades and Dark Side. I wouldn't say they're like the greatest Muse songs, but they're probably a little underrated too. I don't really think they. I, I think Dark Side may have been a single, but it didn't really get like maybe even Blockades too, but it didn't really chart that high. Now I got the deluxe edition of this album, or Camera Woman got me the deluxe edition of this album, which is kind of a weird one to listen to because a lot of the stuff at the end added in for the deluxe edition are alternate versions of other songs, and they kind of can be like calmer and more acoustic and less exciting. So the end of the deluxe album kind of gets like the energy level just kind of drops and drops and drops and drops, which for Muse album is a little weird. It would have been, I don't know what I would have done. Like maybe it would have been nice to mix it up, some of the alternative stuff in with the other things. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not really sure how to solve that issue, but not my favorite Muse album. Still really good because it's Muse. Produced some of their some great songs, and I'm really curious to see what they do next.